William Ruto, Kenyan president, was hit with a shoe in the face during a rally meeting in Western Kenya. This is dangerous. What's up, everybody? I hope you're doing good. It's a beautiful day. Thank you very much for stopping by. You appreciate it. You have no idea what time it is. It is night. But I see you and I respect you. I know you come every single day for a number of time, and I will not disappoint you. Let's not disappoint each other. Let's hug one another, even in spirit. I like you. I want you here. Our entire team appreciates you from being here. First thing first, let's all do this to push this further. Number two, YouTube say a lot of you guys are not subscribed, but you watch the video. Why are you not subscribed yet? You know you want to be here. That's why you're here. That's why we see each other. Please let's click on the button subscribe and let's move on. Great stuff. So first thing first, we're going to start with Kenya. Now, in Kenya, here's a map, beautiful place, lovely people. On Sunday, William Ruto blocked a flying footwear with his arm and did not appear to be injured, according to 3 videos that were published. So William Ruto was holding a meeting, with a lot of people coming. African presidents love meetings and plenty of Africans attending to the meeting. And apparently during the meeting, somebody threw a shoe to William Ruto's face. Look at this. This is crazy stuff. Threw a shoe on William Ruto's face, but he was smart enough to block it, push it to the side. But this raises many questions, in terms of security. How can the president of the republic be exposed to a shoe like that? I mean, the shoe touched him, right? It didn't miss him. The question is, what if the shoe had a bomb inside? He would have been kaput, right? What if the shoe had chemical weapon or a chemical product with no immediate reaction, but a delay reaction? It's very dangerous and raises question about Ruto's security. Now, did they arrest the people? Yes, the people were arrested. Interior Minister Kipchumba Murkomen said the police arrested 3 people.
On the incident that happened during His Excellency's function, I think that is something under investigations, and therefore I leave it at that to show whether there was really security lapse or whether there was intention or motive to harm the president, or it was a different issue. So the investigation is ongoing.
So 3 fellas were arrested for throwing a shoe at William Ruto. But this still doesn't explain how the president's security is at stake. Doesn't make sense. Denis Itumbi, a senior official in the president's office, said the shoe was thrown accidentally. Wow, accidentally? What happened? He said a member of the crowd has held his shoe up as a mock camera, prompting an onlooker to push it away because it was blocking his view. Unfortunately, it flew forward, straight toward the president. This is what the man said. So Denis Itumbi said, this is interesting, in simple English, that somebody took a shoe and put it on his shoulder as if it was a camera. Like how old was he? Was he a kid? He wasn't a kid. So he took a shoe and put it here like this, acting like he was filming the president. Then by doing this, he blocked the view of somebody behind this person that's holding the shoe, and this person pushed the shoe forward and the shoe went to the face of the president. It's interesting, right? Now let's try and find out. Do you think this man is telling the truth? Well, let's try examine. We have a little bit of a brain here, right? Okay. Number 1, is he telling the truth? Well, maybe he's telling the truth. Somebody in his right mind decided to take his own shoe. I don't know how old this person is. Put it on his shoulder, acting like he's a cameraman of a president, and somebody behind him decided to push the shoe forward because he wasn't seeing through the shoe, and the shoe went straight to the president's face. Let's say that's the truth. Well, number 2 option. Well, maybe this version of the story is damage control. Just trying to control the damage. How? It would make sense for many people to raise many questions in terms of security. How competent are the security? If a shoe can reach the president, how? What if it was mined? What if it had a bomb, grenades? What if it had chemical stuff on it? Well, in order to avoid those questions, it's easier to say, well, that is control. The person's intention was not to hurt the president, because it's dangerous if they say a person threw a shoe at the president and you were not able to block it before he touched him. So as damage control, you can say, oh no, the guy was actually acting like he was just playing and somebody pushed it. So it was not intentional, because by saying it's not intentional, it reduces the danger or the worry that should be associated with that situation. You together? Third option. Yeah, maybe this is the version that was reported by the three people. I mean, you just been arrested for throwing a shoe at the president. What do you say? Oh, sorry, I was just trying to play with the president. No, dude, you're going to disappear forever. Well, the most probable cause would be, I'm sorry, I wasn't trying to hit the president. I just said the shoe in my face, acting like I'm a 2-year-old. Then my friend behind me, who was also a 2-year-old, pushed the shoe forward and the shoe went flying to the president's face. And he pushed it aside, but yeah, that's more plausible. That they'll say, okay, cool, dude, we forgive you because you didn't do it on purpose, right? Well, this is not the first time things like this happen, but you need to understand Kenyan people are very frustrated with Ruto. It's not easy, it's been a battle. Remember, just a while back, many people from Kenya came in the street fighting over tariff. Well, Kenya was going through a difficult time financially after getting a lot of debt from many organizations internationally. They didn't want to get more debt, but they needed money. How do you get the money? Through the people. So Kenya went through a vote of a new law that would have asked the Kenyans to pay extra money on bread, extra tax on female pad, period pad. Imagine paying tax on that. Extra tax on cancer treatment. I mean, you already have cancer, but you still have to pay an extra tax for treatment. The Kenyan people were not happy. And because Kenyan people are very brave, they went in the street. They're not like your people that are like shit scared of things. Oh, this is the Americans. No, the Kenyan people went to the street. They went to the street. It's youth born in the 2000. They went in the street and they fought.
And I want to tell this government, we gave you the entry, we are going to show you the exit. Mr. President, watch us.
I don't want him as my president. I even regret why I voted him. Yes, he must go. This finance bill, we are not amending. We are rejecting.
We destroy
everything. We withdraw it.
Many of them were unalived. I just watched a documentary that's shocking on how these people just unalived these kids. But at the end, the law was not accepted. Ruto turned around. He just said, now we're making mistakes.
To take action. I'm going to work on this. I know what we should do, but I am also not going to be reckless and take the country into a crisis. I will make sure that I act responsibly and listening to what the people of Kenya are saying. Innocent lives lost. But also equally, as a person who is responsible, I must think about those who are suffering because they were innocent, but I must also be concerned about those who are suffering because criminals cause them immense harm. And that is the balance that I need to be able to lead a country. I must protect everybody. I must protect the protesters, and I must be concerned about their lives. I must also protect innocent people who become victims of criminals who take advantage of a peaceful, democratic process.
This is just to show you that the Kenyan people are not people to play with. They're strong. They inspired a lot of Africans in that mental strength. So can you say there are people that are frustrated enough to want to throw a shoe at Ruto? Well, you can't exclude that possibility. Just after throwing the shoe, that's where the problem occurred. That's where you realize, oh shit, I think I just threw a shoe at the president. What explanation am I going to come up with? Oh, I was just playing it with, acting like it's a camera. Now, this is not the first time, because things like this has happened before. With George Bush, for instance, George Bush, he was in Iraq having a meeting, and this guy came and threw a shoe at his face. But George Bush was swift. He moved to the side. Unlike Ruto, that thing didn't touch him. You can see that guy he was sharp. Then US President George Bush famously dodged the shoe thrown at him by an Iraqi journalist in 2008 in protest at the Cairo following US-led invasion. He was angry at the Americans after destroying his country while looking for weapons of mass destruction that they've never found. So he was upset with Bush. You see, Bush played everybody. So out of anger, he threw a shoe at Bush, but Bush moved to the side. The man was a journalist. His name was Mutandar al-Zaidi. He threw his shoe. Then US President George W. Bush. Al-Zaidi act was widely seen as a protest against Iraq war, and it caught a lot of media attention worldwide. After throwing the shoe, al-Zaidi was quickly tackled by security and detained by Iraqi authorities. He faced charges of assaulting a foreign head of state, and initially he was sentenced to 3 years in prison. However, the sentence was later reduced to 1 year on appeal. In the end, he was released after about 9 months in detention due to pressure from public opinion. So the guy went to jail. You know, he went to jail for sentenced for a couple of years. Went to jail for throwing a shoe that never touched. You know, in Africa, they will unalive you, my brother. They will finish you. They will unalive you for doing such thing. Now, the guy used that opportunity to also, propagate himself, because he launched himself into politics. After that, he became famous in this country. But unfortunately, he made many mistakes and his political career never really took off. And then there's this guy in France. Look at what he's going to do. That guy just slapped Emmanuel Macron. You see that? He just slapped Macron in the face. His name is Tarel. Tarel was immediately detained by the French authorities. He was later charged with violence against a person in the position of public authority. During his trial, Tarel explained that he slapped Macron as an act of protest against the president's policy, especially his handling of France's economy. Tarel, in 2021, he went 4 months in prison. The severity was reduced because he had no history of violence. Now, this is interesting because there's another place in Africa, there's a country in Africa where somebody threw, I believe it's Congo, DRC, somebody threw a rock at the president back then. The president, Kabila, the young Kabila, somebody threw a rock at his car motorcade. The rock didn't touch the president, it hit the car of the president. What happened to the guy is he disappeared. Okay, they took him, they beat him up, they unalived him, bad. The guy's name is Armand Toumoudou, I mean, why do you unalive somebody like that? Because my question is, if somebody gets to a point where he throws a rock at you as a president, you shouldn't unalive him. You should actually try and understand, where do you get this courage from? Because this is not for everybody. Because you just unalive one of your strongest men. If a man can stand and throw a rock at the president, he's not stupid. A rock will not kill you. He knows that even a bullet cannot go through your window because your car is structured in a way it protects you. So the guy wasn't trying to kill him. The guy was trying to show that he's tired, that the people are angry, people are not happy. And the simple thing could have been to just ask him questions and not unalive him. Because Congo doesn't have brave men like him anymore. They're not there. The Congolese people, they run away when there's war. Even the soul, they leave it within the hand of God, because there they pray Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Look, I've traveled many, many African countries. I've been there for many things. I've even studied there in Congo. At the time, many people studied in Congo. Nigerians studied in Congo, Chadians. But at the time, it was called Zaire. Many people study and they go back to their countries. Same for all of us. And a lot of Congolese people think I'm one of them. I can understand. I just studied there. It's the same thing. I stayed in Congo in the same way I stayed in Uganda, I stayed in Kenya, I stayed in South Africa, I stayed in Ghana, I stayed in many places in Africa. So I like it that people are confused, because I don't believe in countries anyway. Okay, what should happen to somebody that does something like this? Should you unalive him? Because that's what happens in most African countries. Or do you sit him down and try to understand, where do you get the strength? Because these are the guys you will need when shit hit the fan. Fellas, Russia has done something absolutely out of this world. Yes. Against all odds, against all worries, against all setup, back downs, they have proven to the world something brand new. We got to watch this video. This is Ibrahim Traore in Russia. Okay, he took a flight, he left Africa, unlike what people thought. He went to Russia, he's still in Russia right now, and they had a meeting after the event with Vladimir Putin. And yeah, we gotta watch this. You have no idea what I went through to get this for you. We gotta watch this. Let's go. Look at him smiling. Look at the looks. Good-looking African man smiling with Putin. You are represented. So this happened after the event, after paying respect to the people that passed during the war. They came into a private office to have a meeting with several presidents. We'll show you Mnangagwa of Zimbabwe and other people. Let's watch.
Уважаемый господин президент,
Mr. President, friends, we are very glad to see you. And first of all, I would like to thank you once again for making this decision to participate in the commemorative events to honor the 80th anniversary of the victory in the Great Patriotic War.
Yes, Mr. Putin took a lot of courage. Lots of courage from this man from Africa to take a flight to come all the way to Russia. Yes, it took a lot of courage because by coming to Russia, you are defying the West. That's why most African presidents did not want to come. You think they didn't want to come or they were just scared to go? They were scared. They don't want to piss off Mr. Trump. Let's go.
I remember our constructive and useful conversation back in 2023 when you visited our country for the first time to participate in the Russia-Africa Summit in St. Petersburg. This time, your visit to Russia to celebrate the 80th anniversary of the victory is a great symbol, and it reflects the friendly character of relations between Burkina Faso and Russia. And I would like to mention your contribution, your country's contribution to defeating German Nazism and its allies. Some 30,000 Burkinabe fought with the anti-Hitler coalition forces.
Did you hear that? Some 30,000 Burkinabe fought against Hitler and his forces. I mean, this man comes well prepared. If you look at the Burkinabe guy with the gloves, he's shocked. He's surprised. He's like, he maybe didn't have the data. I mean, experts talk about between 10,000 to 80,000 people, okay? And some other, a more recent research talks about 35,000, and Putin said 30,000. So very, very close. 30,000 what? 30,000 soldiers, specifically from Burkina Faso, went fighting against Hitler. There were much more soldiers from Africa, but from Burkina Faso, there was 35,000. And Mr. Putin is piling on the table while you're watching. Have you ever met somebody and they start talking about you and they're accurate on everything they're saying about you? Scary, isn't it?
Under the guidance, under the leadership of legendary Frenchman Charles de Gaulle. And now we are united by our joint goal to fight against terrorism.
You see what he did there? Under the guidance of the legendary General Charles de Gaulle, who's a French. So, unlike what Europeans are doing, trying to dim down what Russia achieved during World War II, he's saying under the legendary French commander, you know, he goes the other way. So he's sending a message here. I'm not going to downplay what you guys did just because we're not getting along right now. I'm not getting along with you, but the people of you that fought during that war, I recognize them. Let's go.
Extremism, and we will continue to support the Republic and restoring constitutional and lawful order to fight against unlawful factions that are still operating in some parts of Burkina Faso. In recent years, we have accomplished great progress in mutually beneficial cooperation in various fields. In the end of 2023, after more than 30 years of hiatus, the embassy of Russia in Ouagadougou was turned operational again, and the economic operation is also important, even if trade is modest.
So the Ouagadougou embassy was closed, as well as many other African nations' embassy. Russian embassies were closed in Africa for some time after the end of the Soviet Union. But then it took some time. Many years later, Russia has reopened their embassy.
It's growing, which is a good trend, and we need to preserve it. And we will continue to work together on further strengthening our economic ties and diversify further our trade cooperations. And it was useful to hold economic days of Burkina Faso in Russia that were held in 2024. and it was attended by the high-level Burkinabe delegation
Look at this man
led
with the
by
glasses. He's young.
Deputy Prime Minister, and we are working now on
He's a young man with the glasses. Look at the guy.
establishing intergovernmental commission. We have already established a working group to look into that matter, and we will continue to support your country in training personnel in 2024 and
Training and personnel will be supported.
2025. The quota of Russian state scholarship for Burkinabe nationals was more than doubled, and this year we are ready to receive 27 more students from your country at the state's expense, and in total more than 3,500 Burkinabe received higher education in Russia.
Wow, they're expecting Burkinabe students to come at the Russians' expense to come study in Russia. Interesting.
Cultural and humanitarian ties also play an important part, and it is assisted by the Russian house that is operating in Ouagadougou since 2024. In particular, they are teaching Russian language there. There is a great potential in cooperation in the field of healthcare and sanitary regulations. Recently, on April 24, 2025,
Teaching Russia, investing in healthcare and many other areas.
Madam Popova visited Ouagadougou and discussed the development of scientific and research infrastructure and training of personnel. We also prioritize humanitarian support for Burkina Faso. Last year, we allocated 25,000 tons of wheat free of charge, and this month we are going to send a large supply of other food products to Ouagadougou. We appreciate the support from Burkina Faso on many international platforms, including the UN and other multilateral platforms. A useful format of cooperation is the consultations between Russia and Sahel States Confederation. April this year, such a session was held in Moscow with foreign ministers. There are good prospects in many areas, and we will have a chance to discuss some of them today. Thank you for your attention.
Okay.
Thank you very much. Congratulations, Mr. President. I hope I pronounced my felicitation properly. For me, it was an honor to be part of these commemorative events devoted to the great victory anniversary, and I would like to thank you for inviting us. It was a great honor for us. And I need to say that during this visit, I learned a lot. I learned a lot about culture, about history, that lay the foundation of the resistance of the Russian people, of its struggle. I learned of sacrifices your people made, and due to these sacrifices,
good student,
we are free now. And I would like to thank you once again for this invitation, and this meeting allows us to think about what's happening in the world today and to think about the prospects as well. The obstacles that we can see today must not stop us. These obstacles, in some way, they are even an advantage, because despite all the sanctions that were imposed on the Russian Federation by many states, Russia is still holding the leading position internationally, and we understand this. We understand how difficult it is. And I watched the parade. I watched the soldiers marching in front of us during the parade. I saw the equipment, including the tanks that from the times of World War II, and I saw the modern equipment, and we would like to see the cooperation between our countries developing rapidly, developing
Cooperation about weapons, yeah.
swiftly, and acquired new shapes and forms.
Of course, they need weapons. I mean, if you're going to stand for your rights, trust me, somebody's going to come try to take that right away from you.
We thank you for your attitude towards Burkina Faso. Today, I visited Mental Health Institute, and we understand that apart from defense and security, there is another essential field, which is science and education, and we would like to see Russia assisting us in training and educating our...
Science and education, that is great. Let me just remind you, this man, Ibrahim Traoré, is Muslim. He was offered by the Saudi king to build 200 mosques. 200 mosques in Burkina Faso, so they can pray. He said, no, thank you. We don't need no mosque right now. We need studies. We need universities. We need infrastructure. We need machines. How about you build us decent school? Well, the Saudi Arabia king never got back to him.
Our youth to help us to develop our own industries, our own enterprises.
Help us develop.
Machinery, other types of manufacturing, because it's very important for Africa. We believe that terrorism that we can see today is a legacy of imperialism, and that's something that we fight against. If we put an end to this war, if we have a strong army, then we can develop our motherland. This is why we continue to fight. That is why we have this struggle. That's why it's important to train personnel, to educate people. In Africa, Africa needs a lot when it comes to equipment, when it comes to technology and machinery, and there are a lot of expectations in this region.
The man is obsessed with the right things: technology, equipment, learnership.
And that's why we still need to do a lot, we need to work a lot, and we would like to request an assistant. And the most important thing you can help with is this exchanges, transfers of technology, exchange of experience. We need to understand how we can use the experience and the know-how that the Russian universities have, and how we can spread it to Burkina Faso, how we can open branches of the Russian universities and Burkina Faso to be more efficient.
Open branches of the Russian university in Burkina Faso. He's not asking for money.
Efficient in the way we educate our people, our citizens. This is the essential task that we are faced with. We would like to see Burkina Faso developing, and we would like to see students coming to us to learn various sciences. We can see great young people in the Russian Federation. Among them, there are a lot of researchers, young scientists, and we would like to learn from you. And another important area is military. We have a lot of projects in the field of defense.
That's what it is, fellas. What do you think about this? I think the man is driven by something really positive. He's not driven by, we need some money so we can build. We need some money so we can do that. He's not driven by that. He's talking about transfer of technology, transfer of intelligentsia. We need people to come in our country after the Russian university has been embedded in our country. We want Africans to come and want to learn from Burkina Faso because we've acquired the knowledge from Russia. What more do you want? Fellas, Ghana has received an armed vehicle from the United States of America as a gift. 14 mine-protected armed vehicles for Ghana. What's the goal? To protect themselves against terrorists in the north. If you look at the north, what country do you see? Burkina Faso. Is this a plan from Ghana and America to destabilize Burkina Faso? If not, what's the goal? We're going to find out about that. Then we're going to go to Burkina Faso. We need to find out why Burkina Faso once upon a time was a friendly country in American lands, but today, clearly it's not, based on what General Langley said. And then we're going to go to Namibia. Yes, something crazy happened in Namibia, where a Namibian MP said something that you need to watch. We're going to find out about that. And then we're going to move to Botswana. Botswana is a lovely country, as you can see on the map. The president says something that's left everybody in awe, and you want to know about this. Today we're going to talk about Ghana. Here's Ghana on the map. Beautiful place, lovely people. I've spent some of the best time ever in Ghana. Ghana is one of the most stable countries in Africa, no doubt about that. I spent quite a long time in Cape Coast. Very friendly human beings. I even remember, every time I went out, people would say hi to me. Good afternoon. Me patro, good afternoon. I'd be like, what? Every time they say good afternoon, there was this lady that said good afternoon every single day. And I started having ideas like, why is she saying good morning, good afternoon every day? Is she into me? Then somebody's like, no, brother. This is how we are. We say me patro, good afternoon. So the me patro part means please. That's how they greet you. Me patro, good afternoon. Not good afternoon. So please, good afternoon. Me patro, good morning. Me patro, good evening. Hey, me patro, good afternoon. Hey, me patro. You gotta love Ghana, man. Somebody has to say please before they say good afternoon. You're gonna have a good time. Great stuff. So something crazy is happening in Ghana right now, fellas. Okay. If you're new here, thank you very much for stopping by. You appreciate it. My name is Zack. We like you here. We want you here. Click on the button, subscribe so we can see each other every single day. We're here every single day. Ghana has just received armed vehicle from the United States of America. 14 mine-resistant, ambush-protected armed personnel carriers worth over $6 million to Ghana Armed Force in a move expected to significantly enhance the country's counter-terrorism and border security operations. So basically, the US is giving Ghana 14 armed vehicles, mine-resistance, to go protect themselves against terrorists in the north. Look at the map. What do you see in the north of Ghana? It's Burkina Faso. So in other words, they're sending you stuff to protect yourself against potential terrorists, if they are.
To provide the finest equipment available to the Ghana Armed Forces. And these 14 armored personnel carriers are the latest example of that great tech and also of how Ghana and the United States working together strengthens both Ghana and the United States. In a world facing complex security challenges, no country can go it alone, as General Bitanu noted last month, at the African Land Forces Summit. Security challenges are just too complex for single actors to act alone. And that's why it's so important that Ghana is an exporter of peace. Whenever they are needed, the Ghana Armed Forces answer the call. Peace operations, border security, responding to national disasters, the GAF are always up for the challenge. Ghanaian service women and men have proven time and again that they stand ready to serve with honor and distinction. And I'm pleased that this equipment will help with that continued service.
Well, did Ghana refuse? No, Ghana said yes. Thank you very much. I like it. They took it.
This occasion is not just a symbol of the enduring partnership between our two countries. It is also a tangible expression of our shared commitment to peace, stability, and security within Ghana and across the West African sub-region. Your Excellency, this generous donation will go a long way in strengthening the operational readiness of the Ghana Armed Forces. These highly capable, mine-resistant, ambush-protected vehicles will enhance troop protection, mobility, and effectiveness in counter-terrorism operations and internal security efforts, including the fight against illegal mining, Galamsey. They are not only assets for national defense, but instruments for regional peace and global solidarity. Over the years, the United States has remained a dependable partner in capacity building journey of the Ghana Armed Forces, providing training, technical assistance, and equipment support. Today's handing over is yet another milestone in our enduring defense cooperation, and we are deeply appreciative of your continued support.
Now, you're certainly asking yourself a question. Why would Ghana say yes? Whilst everybody's sort of trying to free themselves from the colonialists or from the imperialists, why is Ghana taking things from people some people perceive as imperialist? Is this counterproductive? Is Ghana onto something perhaps against Burkina Faso? These are the questions people are asking themselves. The official handover ceremony took place on Wednesday in Burma camp in Accra, making what both nations describe as a deepening of bilateral defense cooperation and standing security ties. Deepening cooperations. I mean, people are undeepening the cooperation right now. You look at Burkina Faso undeepening its cooperation with France. Same for Mali, same for Niger, Senegal that also asked French to leave. Côte d'Ivoire, why is Ghana deepening right now? Is this productive or counterproductive? Is Ghana cooking something with the US against Burkina Faso? We're going to find out about that. Now, I know you're asking yourself a question, why did Ghana accept? They shouldn't have accepted. Before we find an answer to this, we're going to go back in time a little bit. Okay, so a few weeks ago, the USA issued a travel advisory against Ghana, meaning do not go to Ghana, at least not like you think you can go at your own risk, because Ghana is not a safe place. In Ghana, people get raped. In Ghana, people get abducted. In Ghana, people get unalived. That's what they say. As you would think, that's not good publicity, for a country. And that's not very nice. Now, when last did you hear them say, do not go to Belgium, do not go to France? Don't abduction happen in France? They do. Don't rape happen in France? They do. Why have they never done that, but they're doing that to Ghana? Well, many people think something interesting happened. Something prompts that. Well, I'm going to tell you that. Just a few days before Ghana changed its law when it comes to gold. Ghana is one of the biggest country with gold reserve, biggest producer of gold. If you look at these guys here, the Akan people, all the stuff they're wearing in their hand, it's gold. Yes, so they have real gold, real power. Now, in Ghana, many people used to come and get gold, okay? They will buy gold from peasants, from gold traders at a very low price. In other words, many people from multiple countries don't go to the Ghanaian government, but they go find people that are extracting gold, like artisanal gold finder. They will go to them. Obviously, this is a villager. He doesn't have a lot of money. He needs money. So you can come and say, look, I see your gold. Oh, it's not very good quality. Let me give you $500. But the reality is the gold is actually very good gold. Perhaps it's worth $10,000. And these people will leave sometime with the gold and smuggle them out to neighboring countries, and the government will not get any return. Then Ghana changed its law saying no more buying gold in Ghana by foreigners. All foreigners have to go to Ghana Gold Board where they will buy the gold from. No more buying from humans and people and stuff. No more unrecognized things, because Ghana wanted the return from the gold, the tax. So many people took the gold out without paying tax. Many people took the gold out at a very low price. So the Ghanaians, with the brand new president, he is the brand new president of Ghana, President Mahama. He was president in the past, he's president again. He's changed the law to benefit Ghanaians. And obviously, America then issued a travel advisory. And many people said the reason why they did that is because a lot of Americans went to Ghana as well to get the gold, same as the Chinese and many other people. Now they're trying to prioritize Ghana. Now, before you buy gold, you need to buy gold not in dollars, but in Ghana cedis to give the Ghana currency power.
This sets up the gold board that will streamline Ghana's gold sector, including our exports, to make sure that Ghana earns more value for money from our gold mining exports.
America didn't like that, and they issued a travel advisory. Now, you're asking yourself a question. Why did America give them armed vehicles? Well, we know from time that America never gives you things for free. It's always because they want some sort of something back from you. Okay, it's never for free. Okay, we need to have a little bit of control on what's happening in your country. We need to have access perhaps to your, resources, if not your platforms. We need to understand what's happening. What is America asking to Ghana in return? Question mark. Again, our question is this one. We know that the United States of America, through General Langley, at least for now, doesn't like the leaders in Burkina Faso very much. Now, why would Ghana accept armed vehicles to fight terrorists coming from the north? That is question number one. Now, let's answer our question. I'm going to give you the pros and the cons, the positive and the negative, so we can see balance. Number one, America issued a travel advisory against Ghana. Do not go to Ghana because it's a dangerous place. People get unalive, they get abducted and stuff. Then later on, they offered armed vehicles to Ghana. What does that mean? When we say your country is dangerous and you perhaps say, no, it's not dangerous. But then we offer you armed vehicle to fight terrorists and you take them. What does that mean? You are showing that we were right. So you're basically reinforcing or emphasizing the accusation, or at least the statement we made about your country. So it shows that we were right by saying that don't go to Ghana. What we're saying is correct. Number two, on the negative part, that is a very negative message you're sending to the world, because everybody then believes that Ghana is a dangerous place and America is right to say you shouldn't go to Ghana. Oh yes, because America has just given Ghana 14 armed vehicles to protect themselves against terrorists in the north. But we know Ghana to be one of the safest countries in Africa. That's very controversial, isn't it? How can one of the safest democracies in Africa accept armed vehicles to protect itself against terrorists? It means something negative is happening, and that could discourage some very interesting people. Perhaps investors, perhaps people looking to come into Ghana, perhaps tourists. Again, it shows poverty. Number three, it shows that Ghana is not independent. Ghana still needs help from foreign nations. Like, it shows Ghana does not have its sovereignty. Because let me tell you something. The hand that gives is always above the hand that receives. Sometimes you gotta say no to certain things so you can keep your sovereignty and your protectiveness. Now, the big question is this one. Why didn't Ghana say no? Why didn't Ghana say no? Well, it's very simple. If America brings you something as a president and you say no, what does that mean? It shows that you are hostile toward America. I'm sorry, but that's how they're going to perceive it. In most cases, they bring you, oh, these are free things we're giving you. You're like, no, we don't want it. You immediately create an hostile environment between your country and America. And that is not what anybody wants right now. So Ghana perhaps said, okay, diplomatically, let's just say yes to the gift they gave us, or whatever, the tract they're giving us, and keep it moving. However, Ghana should have done something on top of that. I'm going to give you an example. Burkina Faso also received help and, maintenance from the United States of America. The U.S. donated mobility equipment, Toyota Land Cruisers and motorcycles worth $1.6 million to Burkina Faso security forces in February 2024. That is very recent. That's last year. Ibrahim Traoré was already in power. Okay, so Traoré received help coming from the United States of America. He didn't say no. And you're probably asking yourself a question, why didn't Traoré say no? Well, it's very simple. If you say no to America, then you become the enemy. Oh, they don't like us. Because they're going to offer you something just to see how, what's the balance. Everybody knows Traoré is the friend of the Russians. But we're trying to offer you something and you say no, it means you are our enemy. Well, we're going to bring you democracy. People need to be very cautious. As much as you have a stance and a position, you need to keep a diplomacy very flexible. But there's something interesting Burkina Faso did through Ibrahim Traoré. By the time he took the gift from Americans in Toyota Land Cruisers and motorcycles, which they use up until today, Ibrahim Traoré made a speech saying, very subtly, he says, even though you can receive, a gift coming from somebody who's been your enemy for a long time, you can't forget who they are. So you can receive something from somebody while still being cautious. He said that while talking to his military. He didn't say America, but he said that and people read between the lines. That is something that Ghana has not done. Should have Ghana said no? Some people will say yes. Why? Because then it shows that you're a strong country, you're independent, you're sovereign. Just like Ghana recently asked for its gold reserve stocked in America to return to Ghana. Remember that? In a show of sovereignty. By accepting the gift from America, you're confirming their theory, saying that your country is in danger in the north. Now, does this mean Ghana and the United States of America are plotting something against Burkina Faso? No, not at all. Ghana is a very peaceful country. And number two, we know the current president, Mahatma, is somebody that's really very peaceful, very Pan-Africanist. Just remember when he was instated in power, Burkina Faso president went to say hi, went to greet him. He doesn't do that for most other presidents. Unlike the previous president, Nana Akufo, who was very hostile toward Burkina Faso, Niger, and Mali.
Today, Russian mercenaries are on our northern border. Burkina Faso has now entered into an arrangement to go along with Mali in employing the Wagner forces there. I believe a mine in southern Burkina has been allocated to them as a form of payment for their services. Prime Minister of Burkina Faso in the last 10 days has been in Moscow. And to have them operating on our northern border is particularly distressing for us in Ghana. We can have you as a partner in confronting these threats. It is very important that ECOWAS and the West African area remains a democratic space. There's a reason for the actions we took over the coup d'etats in Burkina Faso, in Mali, and in Guinea. And ECOWAS has been very consistent in refusing to deal with these governments because of the undemocratic nature of their accession to power.
The new president is different. Now, America has gifted things to Cote d'Ivoire. Look at the map. Yeah, they've given them equipment. They've also given Benin equipment. You see on the map? Now they're giving to Ghana. What does this look like? They look like neighboring countries to Burkina Faso. Now, are they plotting perhaps something? Be friends with the neighbors until we surround them and go inside? Well, that's speculation. So more than 40 Ghanaian soldiers are receiving specialized training over the past 4 weeks on operation and maintenance of the vehicles that were gifted by Americans. And now we're moving to Namibia. In Namibia, an MP said something very interesting about Ibrahim Traore. He said, how can we not move forward? Why are we struggling to make the country better with all the resources we have? Ibrahim Traore, who is not a democracy, is moving forward. Listen to him.
You see, Traore has become a hero too, Professor. I and him will drink coffee about Traore. But he's doing two good things. He becomes an international icon, a young guy, younger than many of us. Traore has changed the price of uranium. France was buying uranium from Burkina Faso for $1 billion every year. He stopped the French to buy his uranium. Today, Burkina Faso is making 85 billion from the same resource. We are selling uranium here. We have no nuclear power. We are just talking, everything is nuclear. We are just selling. Whether the Chinese are paying us the best price or not, we don't know. We are also afraid. What if they walk out of this deal? But Traore, a young man, a soldier, has changed his country. That's why Traore is now building up factories, processing plants of agro-processing, because he has resources. We have these resources. When we say some of these things must not be said in the open, but let's drink coffee and talk about the future of our country, we don't listen to one another.
Very, very interesting point. You say there, Burkina Faso is progressing because it's not a democracy. You don't have to go through so many paperwork. Well, there's a point of correction there. He said Burkina Faso is using its uranium to get better. He made a mistake. That's Niger. Well, Burkina Faso does not have uranium. Even though the mapping has showed some residue, they don't extract uranium in Burkina Faso. However, Burkina Faso have massive reserve of gold, manganese, zinc, copper, lithium. That's the idea, you understand. It means, why can't we move forward like Burkina Faso is moving right now? Burkina Faso is not a democracy, okay? Traore said it's not a democracy.
And if we need to say it loud and clear here, we are not in a democracy. We are indeed in a revolution.
Because democracy is not naturally African. And it's very difficult to make a country better while it is a democracy. Democracy is an end goal. Okay? Sometimes nations need a leader that wants the good for the nation and is making the right moves within the frame of the legality and the constitution, without having to go through processes. Let's listen to the president of Botswana. Duma Gideon Boko is the brand new president of Botswana. He has something very interesting to say about Ibrahim Traore. Listen.
And I see people making uncanny comparisons with Paul Kagame, my good friend Ibrahim Traore. And I say, some of these folks are operating in a slightly different environment, where their word is obeyed instantly, without question. It's a different environment. You say, this guy is not doing things. Traore is doing them. Traore wakes up, dreams them up. Following morning, he makes a pronouncement. It is law. It is policy. Action follows. And I wake up and I say stuff, they look at me and say, what is this man talking about?
So what he's basically saying here is complaining about the system, okay? A lot of African presidents are now understanding that it's very difficult to construct or build a country within the frame of democracy. The democracy system in Africa in general, it's parties against parties. Even if one political party have good ideas, such as let's build houses for orphans and give them free foods, or let's build hospitals for widows and people who have nothing. Even though it's a great idea, people from the opposition will stand against the idea, not because it's a bad idea, just because the idea comes from you. And that is the struggle in most African countries. No roads, no hospitals, nothing. Why? Because they said we must build the road, so we don't want it because we don't like them. That's the democratic process. Now with Burkina Faso, he's decided, he's bought all these machines. Look at all these machines Burkina Faso has bought for agriculture. Look at the roads happening. There's no need to go through parliament, vote a law, vote whatever, agree and stuff. No, he says, build the road. The road is being built. Obviously, within the frame of the legality, within the frame of law. Build tomato plants and things are moving forward very fast. And this is again to show you, fellas, that democracy is not African. When the Europeans came to Africa, they taught Africans democracy, even though Africans have their own system of functioning that was very productive. Now, a lot of you here don't know, never really heard about Botswana. Yes, Botswana, it's a beautiful place, lovely people, one of the most stable countries in democracy in Africa. In Botswana, they respect women. I don't bring nonsense, okay? No, not at all. They respect women very much. Botswana is Africa's longest democracy. Matter of fact, Botswana was not colonized. Whilst in Namibia, Germans were unaliving Namibians during colonialism. You look at the map, you see Namibia, it's very close to Botswana. They were scared that the Germans will come into Botswana and unalive them. So they went to the United Kingdom saying, okay, can you just take us so we can be protected from the Germans? And Britain went to Botswana, they looked at Botswana, they were like, okay, we don't see anything here that's really valuable. We're going to keep you to protect you, but we don't need anything from you. When the British left, they discovered reserves of diamonds. Botswana is the world's second largest producer of diamond. Very recently, they showed the biggest diamond ever found. Look at that. This is in Botswana, fellas. Botswana also has the San people, the Bushmen. The San people, I mean, I'm sure you've seen the movie, The Gods Have Fallen on Our Head. These people are somewhere around Botswana as well. The San are one of the oldest indigenous group in the world. They have lived in Botswana for over 30,000 years. That's what it is, fellas. The United States of America has offered $6 million worth of armed vehicle to Ghana. What is the goal? What are they going to ask Ghana to do for them in return? Respect is something you give to yourself. It's a gift from you to you. First, before it comes from other people. You cannot expect people to respect you if you're behaving like a street person, like a lawless, disrespectful, disengaged human being. You've got to show yourself respect for the world to respect you. Somebody used to say they can only buy you at the price you sell yourself. So the price you sell yourself is the price they give you. I don't understand people that complain and saying, yeah, why are they treating us this way? Why are they discriminating against us? I mean, how have you sold yourself? Maybe not you directly, but your community. How has your community sold you out there? Are you the people can perceive as respected or respectable? Or you behave like beggars? Give me, help me, support me, boss, chief, chairperson. They can't respect you like that. It's sad because people tend to hide their begnessness behind social, cultural identity, saying, okay, in my culture, you can ask somebody who has more than you. In my culture, you can call somebody that has more than you boss, chief, or chairperson, and he's going to feel some level of, his ego being caressed to the right side, and he's going to give you money. It's sad because that's the culture you create. When you create a culture like that, you create hierarchies, and based on money and lack of self-respect, you are not humanized anymore. Fellas, we're going to watch a video here. It's happening in Nigeria. I see you. You look like my cousin, no doubt about that. I know I look like yours. That's why you're here. You could have been in another video. Thank you for stopping. We like you here. We want you. We want you, family. Please, let's all do this before we move. It is done. It's done. Great. Let's go. We're in Nigeria. Watch this video. Can you see what I'm seeing right now? Can you see what I'm seeing? A Chinese man, clearly with money in his hand, distributing money to what looks like the police. I mean, even people who have never been to Nigeria, they have certainly seen this uniform, which represents the Nigerian police force. Look at them standing there, looking at the Chinese man, giving them money. Watch. I'm shocked. Look at this one. This police papa with the big stomach. Look at him standing there with his big stomach, waiting to receive his small piece of bread. Look at him and his mask half open. Watch. He said, "Come here, come you black people, come, give to the black people. Yeah, give the black people. Look at the papa with the big stomach.
Yeah.
They say, stomach in, chest out. Stomach in, chest out. Not stomach out, chest in. Let's continue. I mean, look how these people are standing looking. Look at this one smiling. It's like, you didn't give me enough, but it's okay. Maybe next time, madam. They're laughing. Give them the black people. People's husbands. Yes, boss. As much as I'm making a joke out of it, I think I'm just doing that so it doesn't hit me. That's bad. Then you wonder why you're not respected. Why do you wonder why you're not respected? When things like this is shown to the world. I mean, you have a police force. This is a police force supposed to uphold the constitution and the laws of the country. Standing in front of a civilian from another country who's distributing money to them. It's an insult, number one, to the government. Saying your government don't pay you, you poor little things. Here's the money. And you standing there with your big stomach looking, taking money. Oh, chairman. You know, I learned in life, some gifts are not to be taken. You may be in the most difficult situation possible. You don't take from just everybody. Not everybody should have the power over you. Because they said the hand that gives is always above the hand that receives. How are you going to ever arrest this person if he does anything wrong? Let's be honest. No, let's say there are no other police people around you, and you see him in a corner doing something that's clearly illegal. Will you arrest him after you receive money from him? No, let's be honest. You see this guy, this chairperson that you call the Chinese man, right? You see him in a corner doing something absolutely unacceptable. Crime, violence, or I don't know, abusing of somebody. And you see him as a police officer. Will you uphold him against the law? You wouldn't. Because you owe him. Because you owe him. Mentally, emotionally, you owe him. It's very sad. Why would you do this? Is it because the government doesn't pay right? Okay, then the government should do something about it. How about you voice yourself to the government so the government does something? I mean, you know, I know this looks like Nigeria, but this is a reflection of an image that people get of black people in general. They don't see Nigeria written here or Uganda. They only see black people. When you go there, you just do here. The police, they're going to be in your pocket. I hope the Nigerian police has done something about these people. I hope the Nigerian police has done something about these people. And I'm sorry, it shouldn't just be punishment. It should be more than that. You should get them off the force. You should get them off the force. You know why? Because it shows you that they're mentally not strong. They're weak mentally. They're mentally weak. It means with money, they can stand, they can forget the value of the how do you call this? That they're worrying. Because of money, small money, I don't know how much money that is. It can't be a lot of money. It's not US dollars. Even if it was US dollars, that amount of, that's like what? If it's 100, how much is it? $300? They shouldn't just be punished, suspended. They should be removed from the police force because it shows you if somebody has money, they can do a lot of things. That's how you see a corrupt person. It's from small things. Hey, can you pay for me? You give him the cash. He doesn't bring you the entire cash. That's how you know this. You can't do business with this person because if he's not faithful to the small things, how can he be faithful to the big thing? We see bad things about Nigeria every single day, fellas. It's tiring. We see stories here where they say, oh, some people just get stopped by the traffic cop, and then when the traffic cop pulled the guy out of the car, then you sad because you already know he's gonna get unalived.
How did I pass your car? How did I pass your car? How did I pass your car? Oh God! Jesus! Oh no! Jesus! Oh! He's not feeling fine. He's not feeling fine. That's why he's dragging. How can you see what they did to my eye? I just see.
And some people think it's not real, but it's sad when you see things like this. Then when Nigerians travel and they are treated in a certain way, why are you surprised? Why are you surprised that they treat you like you're a drug dealer before they even scrutinize you? Why are you surprised that they want to put you to the side because you show to the world that you're the giant of Africa? The giant in what? I'm asking. The giant in what? Is the giant in what? Let's continue. Here's a video of a Chinese man spraying money over people. Look at this. A Chinese boss in his big car in Africa, you know, all these these black little monkeys. Let's spray money on them. Watch this. And he's got a soldier. Why does he need to have an army-looking guy behind him guarding him? Why? How do you know a shuttle country? This is how you know a shuttle country. When people have to walk around, you see guns. You know you're in a shuttle. Listen, when you walk in a country and you see guns, you know you're in a shuttle country. When you walk in the street and you see a colonel, a general driving, you know you're in a shuttle. If you go to decent place, you don't see the generals. How do you see the general? The general is in the camp. How do you see the general in town? If you go to a country and you see generals being driven, you know you're in a shuttle country. Now, why does he need somebody with a gun to go with him? It's very simple. Because he's not safe in Nigeria. Why is he not safe? Because there are too many forms of bandits and criminals and hijackers and all that type of things that we can talk about. Nigeria has 223 million human beings. And unfortunately, at this rate, it represents a threat to many neighboring countries. Let's continue. Watch this guy. The superstar. They're opening the car door for him. Why can he not get just a security guard, a VIP security guard? Charge him for that. Why do you get this person that's supposed to be serving the country, serving the honor, the flag, to open a door for a Chinese person like he's a subhuman? Now, my question is, would this soldier treat a normal Nigerian the same way he's treating the Chinese? Absolutely not. Look at him spraying money. Look at the police picking money from the floor. The police is picking money from... would you do this in China? Would you do this in China? Would you give money to the police? My man, they're gonna take you away. You'll never be seen, ever. You will never be seen. How can you offer money to the policeman in China? How? How is that possible? It's not possible. And do you think a Chinese police person would ever take money even from a millionaire like this? Never! Because they're going to unalive him. You have breached the integrity of the nation. Now, this guy has been spraying money. Okay? He's spraying money. Now, let's see another story here very quickly so we can understand. A Nigerian makeup artist has been sentenced for 6 months in prison for what? For publicly tossing local currency during his wedding celebration in violation of a law aimed at protecting dignity of the naira. Did you hear me? Should I say it again? A Nigerian makeup artist, so he does makeup, okay, has been sentenced to 6 months. 6 months in prison for what? For publicly tossing local currency, throwing money. Nigerians like to do that, you know, throwing money. I don't know if it's, you know, you want to show I've got money, I've arrived in life, even though, you know, we still live in a shithole country. We are the giant of nothing, but yeah. The guy tossed the money in what? In celebration in his wedding, okay? Because let's say it's tradition. Let's just give them the benefit of the doubt. It's tradition. In our tradition, we toss money in our, say, you know, wedding celebration. Okay, let's respect that. It's not about showing that you have money, but you're tossing the money to somebody, the married people. Great stuff. Let's give it a pass. Now, the guy's name is Abdullahi Musa Husseini, popularly known as Amuskam. They say he's abused banknotes. Husseini was seen throwing 100,000 naira, approximately $63 during his December wedding, and act known locally as spraying. While the practice is a vibrant feature of Nigerian festivity, especially wedding and parties, it is technically illegal under 2007 law that prohibits mishandling of national currency. So he disrespected the currency by throwing money. Okay, great. They put him in jail for that. Look, I can understand that you say that, but look, it was his wedding, so he was trying to just do things you do. But in the meantime, are you going to do the same for the Chinese guy? The Chinese guy that threw money and the police was picking up on the floor with no respect. Is he going to go to jail for that? I'm just asking. If he's going to jail, that's great. I mean, if you're going to be, that would be nice. But is he going to jail? I mean, by the look of it, look at the car that he drives. These are Toyotas. You see a lot of these cars in Africa. In most cases, Africa loves this type of cars because they're convenient. But it's not affordable for everybody. You know, they range from $30,000 to $120,000, somewhere around there. So he's somebody surely in Africa to do business. So he got some money. And he understands the mentality of people. You just use money, you can just buy anything. So this man was put in jail, okay, for 6 months because he threw $63 worth of currency. Now, let me ask yourself, if you say this is wrong, maybe there's something you should fix. Because if people can spray money, it means there's too much of it. Now, if there's too much of money, maybe there's inflation. How come there's too much of money? Or maybe the money's value is too low. That is why they can toss it. Okay, let's say it's a tradition about Nigerians throwing money around. Now, how many times have you seen Nigerians throw dollars like that? US dollars. How about that? How about $300 just like that? Just like that. UK banknotes. Why nobody throws those? You know what I mean? It's maybe the currency that has an issue. You need to fix the currency just to have some value. That's why people are disrespecting it, because it has no value. Maybe one person or two can throw $100. Not thousands of people would throw $100. They wouldn't. My question is, what's going to happen to this young man who threw some money because you taught him? I mean, I like to believe it's a show of power. I mean, let's not lie to each other. We know Nigerians love power in general. Can we say that? Nigerians love power, love to be respected. That's why they're the giant of Africa, right? Who gave them that name, the giant of Africa? Who gave them the name? Can you call yourself a giant of a continent if you don't lack power? It's not possible. People throw money because they want to show I've succeeded in life. Why do people feel the need of showing people that they've succeeded in life? People show the needs of showing you they've succeeded if they suffered. So if they suffered, it means there's suffering somewhere that need to be resolved, because this is widespread mentality. I can understand if the two people that spray money, 3 people, thousands of people spray money showing that they have a lot of it. It means they want to prove something, that we are better than all of you guys. Now, when people need to show that they are better than other people, it's usually because they did not have. Now they have. So if they didn't have, and there's a lot of people didn't have, it means there's a problem that needs to be resolved. Make us proud, Nigeria. Make us proud. 300 million people. Make us proud. One ambulance for 223,000 people. Why don't you spend that money to buy ambulances? I mean, punishing these people, it's one thing. Resolving the issue is another. Let me know how you feel about this. It was a great pleasure. Will the Chinese ever respect us? Is it crazy that they stopped Nigeria and trying to understand where are you going? Or show me your passport. Where did you travel? After all the things that people see on the internet. God bless.